Hey, you guys. Hey, house guests. It's your girl, Rag Famous Star, and I am here for episode 6 of Big Brother. Now, there's been a lot going on this week, but I think this week, even though there's been a lot of Taylor bashing, I feel like we're finally getting back into some sort of rhythm of Big Brother. I don't know. I still don't know. I feel like the next 3 weeks will really tell a lot of things. So I'm excited for it, but it hasn't been the greatest. But just go over what happened in this episode. We just left off with Jasmine winning HOH, which I still don't think she should have won. After watching the tapes and watching the, she should have been eliminated. Not just because she hurt herself, that's whatever. But because when she slipped. Now, if I was Jasmine, I wouldn't say anything. Especially if I won in the end. I wouldn't say nothing. I'd go to my grave. Not saying shit. But when she slipped, her foot went down. And there was confetti. Now, there's been debates of her foot going down, and if it hit the mat, the confetti moved. But people are like, well, air would have done the same thing. Sure, but I think the mat had a divot, or I'm not sure. But I think she should have been eliminated. But how would they have, or how would they have redone it? Because at this point she was hurt, so it's I don't know. But Jasmine had nominated Pooch and Taylor. Pooch has offered himself up as a silver platter. Taylor kind of realized she was going up. But, sorry, I don't know why I decided to push that in. But anyways, Taylor realized she was going up as a nominee. And she thinks she's in on the plan of being a pawn. But Pooch thinks he's in on the plan too, and he thinks he can beat Taylor and Jasmine, so he was like, I'm cool with this. He says he's a big fan of Dr. Will, so he's not afraid of going up, and I think that was part of his motivation of going up, because I don't know, I didn't watch season 2, I've never gone back and watched season 2, I have watched season 7, but I don't know. I was not a big fan of Dr. Will's gameplay, but I also understand why he got as far as he did. The first time winning and the second time, getting as far as he did. So, Jasmine is keeping it up with Pooch, talking about, I want the noms to stay the same after the veto. And Pooch is like, well, if I win it, I'm gonna take myself down. She's like, of course. And, which makes sense. The nominee should always use it on themselves. Always. I don't care what. I don't care who's going to go up as your replacement. Use it on yourself. Nicole believes Taylor is more of an asset than a liability, which I feel like a lot of people need to realize this, because right now Taylor has nobody. So if you get her out, now somebody else is the target. So that's why I just am use her as a shield. Keep her in the house for as long as you can without sinking your ship. So, I don't know. But Pooch, he's too big and too good of a target to pass up. He offered himself up. So it's I don't know. I would have done the same thing. It makes sense, especially if you want to get a guy out. I, at this point, am a fan of getting Monty out just because of his actions. And I know his actions haven't really been shown in the show. I'm also a fan of getting Daniel out. I'm also a fan of getting... Those are my 2 that I'm not thrilled about. I wouldn't mind now if Terrence went, but we're here nor there. So Taylor really wants the veto. She's hoping the girls aren't playing her, and they are. They don't truly want to work with her. They are using her as a shield and using her as a cover, and just oh, well, we can put Taylor up like next week, or they're like, I feel like Taylor is in that danger zone, and it's already happened twice, but both times she's kind of been a target pawn. Well, the first time she was a replacement target, and then the second time she was a pawn but could turn into a target. But she's in this position of becoming a perpetual pawn, a pawn star, of course. And that's not good when that happens. So I'm just like, girl, you're gonna need to win HOH. You're gonna need to win HOH, or you're gonna need to win veto to prove that you're not just a pawn. So I don't know. I feel like that's what perpetual pawns need to make happen. You need to win competitions. So contacts. Okay, so I forget. I've been wearing contacts since I was like 12, like 11 or 12. I danced when I was younger, and I did gymnastics, and it was just so much harder. Like, I started wearing glasses in the 5th grade, and so it was hard to dance and do gymnastics with glasses on, because I am not just a little blind, I'm a lot of blind. So I've been wearing contacts most of my life now. And so I forget that other people struggle so hard to wear contacts. And these two glasses wearers, Kyle and Michael, they're like, well, first Kyle's practicing putting contacts in his eyes. And I just think he doesn't have the right strategy. Both of them, neither one of them. But Kyle starts off, and then he's like, oh, I'm going to practice putting them in my eyes, like for some of these comps. Like, for some of the comps, it is beneficial to not have anything on your face, especially if you're looking down or up, or, or they could get foggy and all that jazz. So I get why wearing your contacts would be beneficial. So, but like, if you're not used to wearing them, there's a good chance they're just going to pop right out of your eyes. But so they both have terrible technique. They're just like opening their eye as big as they can and just sticking that sucker in. And I remember when I first learned to use contacts, that's not the strategy. I'm not going to teach you guys a strategy, but I feel like they should have went to somebody in the house that wore contacts. Like, if I was there, I would have been like, yeah, let me help you. That is not it. It took them what seemed like forever. I feel like now that I've been wearing contacts, what is it, like 17? Jesus Christ, how many years? A lot of years. Like, since I've been wearing contacts so long, I can stick them. I use a mirror most times, but like, if I was in the place where I did not have a mirror, or I was in a small place or something like that, I could stick my contacts in. I could take them out without a mirror for sure, but I can stick them in, no problem. But that's here nor there. So we move on. Oh, Michael got his contact in quicker than Kyle. I feel like they should have worn them the rest of the day, but then you would have to fight to get the other one in, unless they only had one eye that needed a contact. But hey, so Oasis formed on day 3, and I might have said this before, but I try to just mention it as the show mentions things, just because if you're not watching like spoilers like I am, it's like kind of like, I don't know. I mean, the show introduces it when they want it to, or when it seems good for them. But anyways, Oasis is most of the guys, the power guys, strong guys. What did the Pooch say? But this is Pooch, Kyle, Monty, Turner, and Joseph. I don't know why they didn't include Michael in this. I mean, I know why, but it's stupid that they don't deem him as a threat when he's won. I mean, at this point, he's only won 1 veto, and I think he's come close in 1 HOH. He's probably come close, and I don't know. Michael's done pretty good in competitions. So I don't know why that they're like, he's not good enough to be with us, which is so stupid. So Pooch feels good about being on the block because of his Oasis alliance, and he's not really like too threatened. But what is weird with Pooch is his bromance with Joseph. Now, it feels like it's more of a Pooch thing with Joseph. But I don't know if they just only showed us, Pooch touching Joseph, if that's what they're trying to show. Because I'm sure there's been times where Joseph has been all touchy on Pooch. But what was I gonna say? It seems like a brother, like a little brother relationship. Like Pooch is the little brother, and Joseph is the older brother, and like your little brother just came back from like, or your older brother just came back from like, I don't know, camp, like 2-week camp, and the little brother's just like obsessed. That's what I got. I mean, when my little brother was very little, he was like that, but like he was very, very, very little, like first grade, like so maybe even before that, pre-elementary school even. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think they're just like guys. I mean, they're 2 straight guys, supposedly. Whatever. So the Veto's called Mermaid Fest, I think it's called. And the players, as we know, we have Jasmine, Taylor, and Pooch, because Jasmine's HOH and Pooch and Taylor are nominees. Amira gets picked by Taylor. No, Amira gets picked by Jasmine. Michael gets picked by Taylor, and Terrence gets picked by Pooch. All these players' names were drawn, no house guest choice. It was weird that Pooch kind of said Terrence's name, like, Terrence. Like, you can tell he wanted somebody else, but at least you know you could probably beat Terrence. At least you could be more confident or something. I don't know. So Jasmine and Amira are excited for the picks. Jasmine was like, I'll pray for this. And I was like, okay. So, oh, I thought somebody messaged me. So Taylor and Michael doesn't know if he could use the veto on Taylor. But maybe he's like, well, maybe I can make it look convincing for you to win it on your own. This is him talking to Taylor. And so he's like, maybe I can throw it to you in some way, but he's going to try for it. As long as Pooch is not close to winning. And Jasmine doesn't want to put up a replacement, so she's wanting her picks to stay the same. Michael seems like the type for me to not make many waves in things and to keep the HOH happy. So that's just the vibe I got, and that's the vibe I'm getting from him. He seems like a people pleaser, but at the same time, he seems smart, but he seems smart to be able to please people, because when people are pleased, they're less likely to come after you. So I think it's a good strategy. I am excited to see for when Michael does come in power, what that will actually look like. So now this next part. So Indy's up. Indy's talking about the beach or something like that. And she's like, it's healing and calm. But with her accent, it sounded like she said hailing. And they had to put captions below that. Like Big Brother inserted some in there. I think they have to do that for her all the time. Or when people are whispering. But her accent's pretty strong. I like it. But I was like, did she say hailing? And I looked up and the words are still on there. But yeah, healing and calm. I thought that was funny. So this veto competition, it's basically they're in these like mermaid tails. And there's like a course that's like wavy. And each dip, there's like beads that fill in, like water beads that fill in, and then they have to go up, over, and they have these big pearls. They're probably like, you can't tell, but the size of like a small dodgeball, I would say. And they can't touch it with their hands, and they can only move it with their head or their crown. And they have these like little foam crowns or something like that on their heads. And most of them seem like they came off, so I don't know what that was. Like, most of their crowns, at least half, maybe more than half, came off. Jasmine did not end up playing because they left it up to her. Because even though it wasn't super physical, like, she would have had her ankle in a weird position. She would have had to, like, possibly hitting it over and over again. So she decided to sit out, which I'm like, girl, are you going to be able to do anything this summer? Like, she's going to be able to do all the question stuff, but I think it's going to be harder until her ankle really starts to heal, maybe even after like a month, for her to compete in certain competitions. So at this point, she's just out and has no chance to win things. Like that really sucks. I mean, like, for her, in my mind, if I was her, I'd be like, well, I'm just gonna do what I can do. But at the same time, like, I'd be like, this is not what I came here for. But at the same time, like, when are you gonna get another chance? You have to play like it's your first time. I mean, you have to play like it's your second time. You can't play like, oh, I'll come back next summer and like do better. No, you have to play like you want to now. So they are going up and over. Michael's strategy is to use his face. Taylor's strategy is to take her time, like lining things up. And both of these strategies seem to work for them. This looks hard only because it seems like it's very messy. It seems like you can get to the point where you could splash all your beads out. Like, or maybe there was just like so many, but you going back and forth and back and forth. Like, the beads didn't just stay in the lanes because the walls were not but a 6 inches, 7 inches high. So it seemed really messy. And I don't know. I was just thinking, like, what's up with all this face stuff? Like, first the rings, and then for the first HOH competition, and then what else happened? The pies, you couldn't use your face, which I get it, but I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. And then this with you moving it with your face, it's weird. So they have this fake rain, and the rain comes like probably like a couple minutes into the competition. I'm sure this did not last long. And I was thinking, dang, those beads must hurt. Like, I don't even like crawling on the ground on my knees. So I don't know. And then I kept thinking, like, Taylor would like put her head down. I'm like, dang, this girl has some beautiful hair. It's like wild and beautiful. And like, first it was like up in a clip, and I was like, girl, you had to have known that clip was not gonna hold all of your hair. Like, it was wishful thinking, I'm sure, but you had to have known. Whatever. Taylor, they start getting to the point where, like, it seemed very hard to like hit your pearl into the clam, but they got to a point where Taylor had two, Michael had two, Pooch had one, but a bunch of pearls were kind of lined up there. Amira had one, and who was the other player? Terrence. Baby, they barely showed him. They showed him moving in slow motion. I forgot he was a player until now. But I think Terrence might have gotten one, maybe. I'm not sure. They stopped showing him. But when they're lining up, which they're like, this could be my last shot, Taylor's like, hey, Michael, can I shoot first? Can I like go try it first? Because she knows, she would take herself off. He potentially would not. So he was like, yeah, like, so he's there because they're right next to each other in their lanes, and they're like, okay. So Michael's like, he's like clearing the beads, like he's been doing, clearing the beads out of the way. And Taylor, which I'm like, girl, why didn't you do that too? I would have been like, let me do what you're doing. But maybe she's like, my strategy is working for me. She goes, hits the ball or the pearl. It is like a couple of inches short, which what it seemed like on camera. Michael's like, okay, well, I got to do this now. Otherwise, Pooch could potentially, because Pooch had a bunch lined up super close to his like clams. So Michael's like, okay, well, I have to like go for it now before Pooch gets it. And so he does and ends up taking a shot and winning. So Michael is the winner of the second Power Veto, which is his second Power Veto win this summer out of 2. So it's called the Michael Power Veto. I don't know. So Taylor talks to Pooch, and they're both at this point, like, in their minds, I'm the pawn, I'm the pawn, I'm the pawn. Like, they both think they're the true pawns. And Taylor talks to him about, like, maybe they can get somebody else up so they can both stay. And Pooch is like, yeah, sure. But he's, like, not really giving her the time of day. But he's just, like, lying to her. And this combo was stupid. I thought it was very stupid. Like, I don't know. I saw no point of it. It seems like a lot of people want Pooch out. not just the women, but it seems like Michael is all for it. Daniel is all for it. Who else is all for it? Terrence will do what anybody wants. I think the only people that could potentially vote for Pooch to stay would be the people of Oasis, which is Kyle, Monty, Turner, and Joseph. But that's only 4 votes. Everyone else is really interested in voting out Pooch. And I think it's partially because, like, if they send another woman home, like, now they're down to 6 women, 8 men. And so when you start to do things like that, it's like, I get it. I totally get it. It makes sense. But I would do the same thing. Not just because, I don't know, I also can't stand Pooch. I don't know, I don't like the way he talks. Not just what he says, but how he says it. So I kind of can't wait for him to get off my TV screen. What do we have, like 1 more episode? And then he's out? So Nicole, she's talking about her mom, and this was a really touching moment. She said the big reason as to why she is playing the game is because of her mom. And her mom was, I don't know if she was recently diagnosed with cancer. I think she said a couple years ago. But so she's currently battling cancer, and her mom's a big fan of the show, probably watching at home. And I think that would be a big reason as to why I would play. Now, my mom didn't watch any of these types of shows. She liked her dramas, you know. She liked shows like that, like Scandal and stuff. She liked that. But I think just doing things to make my mom proud and to do things that I know are hard and that my mom would be cheering me on for. I understand her passion in that, because, like, you always want to make your parents proud. You always want to do things that you could be like, yeah, you know, like when I ran my first half marathon, my mom came out and supported me, and I was like, I didn't think anyone was going to be there. I was just like, I'm just going to run and do this, and my mom was like, yeah, I'm going to come out there, and I was like, oh, you know, so it's like doing things like that, like, are super meaningful, especially, like, I don't know, just, you want to make your parents proud. So let me keep going, like, before I tear up. So Daniel, Amira, Jasmine, Michael, Indy, and Alyssa are talking in the HOH room about possibly even taking Taylor down and putting up Joseph, because Joseph is not only a vote for Pooch, but he's close with Pooch, and he is one of the few people that are out of the plan. I don't even think, he might know now, but I don't think he knows about Pooch potentially going home. I think he thinks that, you know, Pooch has a lot more votes. I don't even think he knows how close it is, because Monty and Kyle know. Pooch, Turner, and Joseph do not know. I hope they keep it a blindside, because there was a blindside on BB Can 10, and I was here for it. I was here for the whole thing. So when blindsides happen, it's just so like the looks on everyone, on the blindsided faces, not just the person that was evicted, but the other 2 people. Like when they say the votes and it's like 10-2, I don't know what the votes will be, but you know, when they say it, and and the 2 that are like, what? Because jaws drop. A lot of people do not hide the fact that, what? You know, love it. And there's some people that do that fake, like, oh my God. Like, bitch, don't, oh my God. You were part of the 10. But the people that look shook, love it. So the veto meeting happens. I don't even know why that they have this. They did not show the speeches. Did not show the speeches at all. They probably had them, but Michael does not end up, he decides not using the power of veto. It's just, it's not in his best interest. If he takes Taylor down, then he'll be looked at as tied to Taylor, and no one wants to be for sure locked into Taylor yet, just because they're not even really sure, I think, how much capital she has, and she is not well positioned or well liked at this moment, which is unfortunate. So I can't blame him for not wanting to use it on her. But he was damn sure not going to use it on Pooch. So he wants to respect Jasmine's wishes, and he does say that in his speech. So that is the end of the episode. There is not going to be an episode tomorrow. at first CBS, because of the January 6th hearings, which I'm not gonna watch, but so they were gonna have it tomorrow. It postponed to Friday, January 6th hearings. Then they canceled the Friday one and just said, we're just gonna do 2 hours on Sunday. And so that's gonna be like 2 episodes of Big Brother. And what they're going to have is the eviction of, hopefully, Pooch. A new HOH is gonna be crowned. And then knobs are gonna happen in 1 episode. And I'm like, whoa, this is gonna be a lot of notes. It's gonna be a lot of episode. And yeah, so, and then they're also going to unleash the BB Besties twist, which I'm like, I'm here for it. As long as I'm hoping that at least either, Alexa, turn on lamps. So I'm hoping that the BB twist, either the big bestie twist, helps Taylor or like neutralizes her, but doesn't hurt her. So I don't know, but I am excited for it. Let me know what you guys think of this episode. If you heard anything that you agree with, please comment, like, subscribe. Also watch my videos on the Challenge USA. I'm going to be posting that up tonight or after this one. So check it out. Once again, comment, like, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed my channel. Bye, y'all.